Today is November 12th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 8, Two Wives. We'll be reading page 118. At the 12 of 12, we'll continue Tradition 3. We'll read page 143, and we'll read today's 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Once again, we've been given a brand new set of 24 hours, clean slate, another opportunity to work the program and just to live a life of integrity. That's an exciting thing. So let's get to the good stuff. I have Big Book 1, Chapter 8, Two Wives. We'll be reading page 118 today. You and your husband will find that you can dispose of serious problems easier than you can the trivial ones. Next time you and he have a heated discussion, no matter what the subject, it should be the privilege of either to smile and say, "This is getting serious. I'm sorry I got disturbed. Let's talk about it later." If your husband is trying to live on a spiritual basis, he will also be doing everything in his power to avoid disagreement or contention. Your husband knows that he owes you more than sobriety. He wants to make good. Yet you must not expect too much. His ways of thinking and doing are habits of years. Patience, tolerance, understanding, and love are the watchwords. Show him these things in yourself, and they will be reflected back to you from him. Live and let live is the rule. If you both show a willingness to remedy your own defects, there will be little need to criticize each other. We women carry with us a picture of the ideal man, the sort of chap that we would like our husbands to be. It's the most natural thing in the world, once his liquor problem is solved, to feel that he will now measure up to that cherished vision. The chances are he will not. For, like yourself, he's just beginning his development. Be patient. Another feeling that we are very likely to entertain is one of resentment. That love and loyalty cannot cure our husbands of alcoholism. We do not like the thought that the contents of a book or the work of another alcoholic has accomplished in a few weeks that for which we have struggled for years. At such moments, we forget that alcoholism is an illness over which we could not possibly have had any power. Your husband will be the first to say that it was your devotion and care which brought him to the point where he could have a spiritual experience. Without you, he would have gone to pieces long ago. When resentful thoughts come, try to pause and count your blessings. After all, your family is reunited. Alcohol is no longer a problem, and you and your husband are working together toward an undreamed of future. Out of the 12 of 12 run, tradition number 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Page 143. Not long after the man with the double stigma knocked for admission, AA's other group received into its membership a salesman that we shall call Ed. Power driver, this one, and brash as any salesman could possibly be. He had at least an idea a minute on how to improve AA. These ideas that he sold to fellow members with the same burning enthusiasm with which he distributed automobile polish. But he had one idea that wasn't so saleable. Ed was an atheist. His pet obsession was that AA could get along better without this God nonsense. He browbeat everybody, and everybody expected that he'd soon get drunk. For at the time, you see, AA was on the pious side. There must be a heavy penalty, it was thought, for blasphemy. Distressingly enough, Ed proceeded to stay sober. At length, the time came for him to speak in a meeting. We shivered, for we knew what was coming. He paid a fine tribute to the fellowship. He told how his family had been reunited. He extolled the virtue of honesty, and he recalled the joys of 12-step work. And then he lowered the boom. Cried Ed, I can't stand this God stuff. It's a lot of malarkey for weak folks. This group doesn't need it, and I won't have it. To hell with it. A great wave of outraged resentment engulfed the meeting, sweeping every member to a single resolve. Out he goes. The elders led Ed aside. They said firmly, "You can't talk like this around here. You have to quit or get out." With great sarcasm, Ed came back to them. "Now do tell, is that so?" He reached over to a bookshelf, took up a sheaf of papers. On top of them lay the foreword to the book Alcoholics Anonymous. Then, under preparation, he read aloud, "The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking." Relentlessly, Ed went on, When you guys wrote that sentence, did you mean it or didn't you?" 24 hours a day, November 12th. AA thought for the day. I am less critical of other people, inside and outside of AA. I used to run people down all the time. I realize now that it was because I wanted unconsciously to build myself up. I was envious of people who lived normal lives. I couldn't understand why I couldn't be like them. And so I ran them down. I called them hypocrites. I used slurs to demean them. I was always looking for faults in the other person. I loved to tear down what I called a stuffed shirt or a snob. I have found that I can never make a person any better by criticism. AA has taught me this. Am I less critical of people? Meditation for the day. You must admit your helplessness before your prayer for help will be heard by God. Your own need must be recognized before you can ask God for the strength to meet that need. But once that need is recognized, your prayer is heard above all the music of heaven. It is not theological arguments that solve the problems of the questioning soul, but the sincere cry of that soul to God for strength, and the certainty of that soul that the cry will be heard and answered. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may send my voiceless cry for help out into the void. I pray that I may feel certain that I will be heard somewhere, somehow. Daily Reflection, November 12th. Morning Thoughts. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 164. For many years I pondered over God's will for me, believing that perhaps a great destiny had been ordained for my life. After all, having been born into a specific faith, hadn't I been told early that I was chosen? It finally occurred to me as I considered the above passage that God's will for me was simply that I practice step 12 on a daily basis. Furthermore, I realized that I should do this to the best of my ability. I soon learned that the practice aids me in keeping my life in the context of the day at hand. Alright, my friends, that concludes today's reading. Some beautiful stuff as always. Real quick, I do love the 24 hours a day and the one line right here. It is not theological arguments that solve the problems of the questioning soul. Here it is. But the sincere cry of that soul to God for strength and the certainty of that soul that the cry will be heard and answered. I can relate to that. My prayers oftentimes are not very fancy. I actually have a friend, I think I mentioned this recently, that he talks to God almost like a close buddy. He'll say stuff like, "Hey, I'm struggling, man. Can you help me with this?" That's his prayer. I don't think I have to sound so fancy and put on this front. I think I just need to be sincere in my prayers. The God of my understanding knows what I'm wrestling with anyway. I can't really sugarcoat it or put on that mask like I've done with people before and say, "I'm fine. I have to be honest. I have to be sincere and cry out to my higher power when I'm struggling. And then the certainty of that soul that the cry will be heard and answered. I think what's helped me with the certainty part is seeing the change in my life. When I journal and I write things down that I was wrestling with, and I see weeks, months, or years after the fact that prayer's been answered, there's the certainty. And I have the tangible evidence in front of me. Wow, he answered that prayer. Might not have been the outcome I was hoping for, but I'm not stressing about it anymore. And I just keep trusting that no matter what the circumstance might be, that all will still be well with my soul because of my higher power. Great stuff. But that's all we have time for today, my friends. I hope you all have a good one. Please know I don't speak on behalf of AA or NA or Al-Anon, any other sect. I'm just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery, and I'm grateful that you're here with me. If we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.